we just interviewed Jeff Tremaine today, the director of Jackass. And we were talking about how a lot of the skits that became Jackass iconic moments were just things that were filler for skate videos. I mean, all that stuff was like, there would be skate videos, you'd have just sort of weird segues in between the skating segments, which were just kind of Jackass type stunts.
Right.
And that's how they started. That really is how they started. They had a Big Brother magazine, was a sort of irreverent skate magazine that was uncensored, that was just raw and funny. That's where Knoxville did his review of self-defense devices.
Okay.
And where he shot himself. I don't know if you ever saw that, but that's yes. That was for a skate magazine. And so they made a video of it, and then they were talking about how this just was skating sensibilities turned into a whole show.
But what you were doing, you were not trying to hurt yourself.
Not at all.
I mean, there's a very big difference.
But we knew the humor in it.
I see the Venn diagram overlap between what you do and Jackass. I think there's a huge difference.
I just said skate sensibilities. I'm just talking about the idea that you're willing to risk yourself for
yes, but you're doing it again to perform this ballet. They're not doing it for that reason, you know. Just take the compliment because it is in your favor.
Oh,
you know?
I'm a fan. I love it.
Look, like I say, I love laughing, and that shit gets. I mean, that's a great just a laugh-a-thon. Most of it, some of it, if it's gross or something, I mean, I can also hate it. But it's look, they gave me laughs. I like anyone who gives me laughs, but it also does remind me that, you know, show business, you got to love it. And one thing about it is, if you really insist on being in show business, you can be. You can find a way. It won't be dignified.
Yes.
You know, it's the old joke about the guy who shovels the shit behind the elephant at the circus.
Yeah, leave your dignity at the door.
You know, what, and leave show business?
Yeah.
I mean, and some people just insist on being in show business, and God bless them.
Yeah.
That's, you know, you made it work for you at a price I don't think is worth it. But if that's the only way you were going to get into the business, I mean, you work with what you got. You work with the hand you're dealt.
But I do think that they had they were creative in this Buster Keaton sort of way, and it was they were willing to destroy themselves for the sake of comedy, but
that's the little.
But it was so funny. I mean, we were just talking about. I don't know if you see the bungee thing with Preston and Wee Man, where Preston is the bigger guy,
right?
Wee Man is the little guy,
right?
And Preston stood on a bridge and he was bungeed to Wee Man, who jumped off the bridge, and just that in itself was one of the funniest things I've ever.
No, it is funny. It is. I mean, it damn well better be.
Yes.
When you give up your kidney.
True.
You know, you better
or your urethra, as Johnny Knoxville knows.
I mean, I've given up dignity for sure on stage. I mean, when you're standing there opening for, you know, a rock band, which I've done, and they're literally throwing shit at you to get off the stage, and you're dodging stuff while you're telling jokes, you do not have a shred of dignity. I'll admit that. I mean, I've been there.
And paying your dues.
Yes, and just... Or by my own stupid fault, like, you know, turning off a crowd. I mean, this is 40 years ago, but, you know, still. And so, like, no matter what I said, they were like, look, like when your girlfriend's pissed at you, you know, just a look on their face like, you think I'm going to laugh at you now?
Yeah.
After what you just said? So, I mean, but that's a lot different than your body.
True.
You know, you only get one, and as we know, it's a reclamation project to keep it in top shape.
Oh, I know it?
As time goes by. But you generally feel healthy?
I do. I kind of turned a corner recently. I broke my leg 2.5 years ago. Like, broke my femur in half.
Doing what you love.
Doing what I love, yeah. and being careless with it. And I paid the price around and found out. And that recovery was really rough because I got back on my skateboard too soon. My bone shifted out of alignment. So I had to have a second surgery to put it back in place. And now I've taken it upon myself where I'm not taking those unnecessary risks anymore. I embrace how old I am and that I get to do this at all. on any level. So I've actually kind of reached a more baseline of skating.
No, you always got to throttle back, and it's
Sure.
aging is a.
But I wasn't. I mean, I wasn't
know.
until I was 53.
Yeah, it's not going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. That's the.
Yeah, I think that's the hard lesson I learned.
You make up for it with other
through that thing.
You know, it's always a balancing and a trade-off of, yeah, but I'm also getting better at this.
True.
You know, I mean, I'm lucky because what I do is up here, so I can be getting better at 68.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas an athlete, you guys, that candle burns when you're young.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching the clip. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our Club Random content that's posted daily.